I'm Eric Lanask. We're here in New York City at this year's Real-Time Web Solutions Conference. Joining me on the program from Voxbone, it's Chad Hart. Chad, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks. Great to be here.
So, give me a little bit of an update. What are you doing? What's the latest from Voxbone?
I just started at Voxbone. My role there is head of strategic products, but I'm really helping them launch a bunch of new IP communication services in a few different areas. So, WebRTC is a big one. One reason why we're here today. But also looking at kind of communications, offload APIs, that sort of thing, and cloud services as well.
So how does WebRTC play into everything that Voxbone has traditionally been working on?
Voxbone traditionally has provided phone numbers, DIDs, sub-trunking services. So the most basic thing we do is actually provide ability to click the call into those trunks, right? It's kind of like a WebRTC trunk. So that's an obvious fit. So instead of someone having to pick up the phone and the call, they can also just click on a website, a button on a website and dial in, right? And that's something we provide for free to all Voxbone customers on all our phone numbers.
So in a case like that, it's not truly about monetizing WebRTC per se. It's more about leveraging WebRTC or leveraging emerging technologies to add value to your customers.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at this phase for Voxbone, we're not looking to directly monetize WebRTC. We are looking to drive traffic, right, and make it easier for people to make calls. And by making it easier, the more calls there are, the easier it is for someone to communicate. The more calls they're going to make, and that actually indirectly drives up our revenue from the traditional Voxbone products that we sell.
So, what are you seeing in terms of utilization or adoption of WebRTC specifically?
So Voxbone has actually had WebRTC in the works for a couple years now. I think the beginning was maybe a little rough. There's a lot of excitement about it, and people got into started using it, and they got really confused, or they had a really hard time integrating into their websites. They had a hard time dealing with how do you work. Like, if the browser doesn't support WebRTC, what do you do then? How do you deal with a microphone? So there's a lot of the little issues that you kind of take for granted after you can easily take for granted, really started to hold people up. So we transitioned into really focusing on a really smooth click-the-call type scenario and making that part of the offer, right? And that seems, and we just launched that relatively recently. And our traffic, we've grown like 50% each month for the last couple of months, and we're really just starting to push their service. So I expect that to keep going as we increase our promotion and make it more widely available.
Speaking more broadly about WebRTC and real-time communications, it really seems, based on what we're seeing here this week, that there are a lot more, let's say, live use cases, a lot more people building things using WebRTC.
Yeah, I don't think there's any short. There's lots of use cases. I think a lot of people doing WebRTC. I mean, I like to use Facebook as an example. The Facebook Messenger has WebRTC built into it, and I think they're up to 800 million, 900 million users. I mean, it's like you can't really get bigger than that. So you can't really say the core technology is not ready, right? I think where people have struggled now is the kind of the peripheral technologies and like really trying to figure out the use case, right? And it's not just party A calling party B anymore. You got to be a little more creative than that. So there's a tremendous amount of experimentation, and I think you see some really cool stuff as a result.
So you're right. There is a little bit less of me calling you. Instead, I'm going to Facebook you, and you're going to Facebook me back. Are we getting in danger of Facebook and other similar platforms taking over the communication space?
I am sure they want to. I mean, there's no doubt that they want it, right? I mean, in some ways you can say, I mean, they're taking over the non-real-time communications already. Why not take over the real-time communications too? I think that's there, but at the same time, as the barriers to entry for doing some of these things get lower, I think it's easier for other apps to start doing things. So, yeah, maybe you'll use Facebook just like you do today. But you also have probably a couple of dozen other apps where you do real-time communications, or all of them potentially, right? So it'll be more of a timeshare as opposed to an all-or-nothing approach, in my opinion.
What do we have to look forward to in the future from Voxbone?
So you'll see us launching a bunch of other new services, trying out a lot of new things. Hopefully, you'll see a lot more of that really soon. Why don't we wait until I have some of those ready, and we'll definitely talk more then.
You bet. Certainly look forward to it. Hopefully we'll get to hear some more about that down in Florida at IT Expo this winter.
Yeah, definitely.
Chad, thank you so much for joining us.